All right, state, call your next witness.
At this time, Your Honor, the state calls for the stand investigator Darrin Smith.
All right, summon Investigator Smith, please.
Darrin Smith, Darrinsmith.
Hey, this is one of them videos y'all want me to do on Miss Love, which will be dropping this week. It's a whole lot I got to get to, but check this out, man. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you another A&E detective, Darrin Smith. Here's just a little synopsis in court today and some stuff I found. Check out what's on the way.
I just want to add these to your already large stack of photos, which have been previously admitted. And just for the purpose of the record, I will say, Your Honor, I have just handed the witness 24 Yankee, 25 Yankee, 26 Yankee, 28 Yankee, 30 Yankee, 221 Yankee, which have already been previously admitted.
All right, sir.
Yes, sir. Investigator Smith, prior to publishing any photos, I want to ask you a few questions with respect to the photograph. Why do you all take so many photos?
So don't want to miss anything. You don't want to just take one photo and hope it's going to be the perfect photo that you're looking for. It may be blurry. So, and Stuart likes to take a lot of photos, which I think is awesome because I'd let her take all the photos she wants. You just never know. I mean, just personally, maybe when you just don't know what it's going to come out as. So a lot of times you may take duplicate photos of the same piece of evidence and you know, you're taking it, you look at the photo and it looks okay, but then when you go look at it, it's like, ooh, what are we looking at? So the more photos, the better.
So that usually when you're doing the crime scene investigation portion as the investigator, there's a civilian crime scene tech officer with you. Was one accompanying you on the evening of January 10, 2015?
Yes.
And do you recall that person's name?
Crime scene technician Stuart.
And what was crime scene tech Stewart's responsibility with you as you processed that crime scene?
So our crime scene techs are responsible for actually photographing the crime scene at our direction. We work together with marking which pieces of evidence that we want to have collected and photographed. I said I'm pretty hands-on, so a lot of times I'll put the markers down where I feel they're necessary based on the scene. Like I said, they photograph an overall picture of the crime scene before we even start putting any type of evidence markers down. They will actually physically collect the evidence that's there. A lot of times they'll collect it, they'll note it to me, we'll read what it is, we'll note what it is, I'll write it in my crime scene log, and they will make a note of it on the evidence envelope that they collect that evidence into. So we do that from every piece of evidence, and that's how we gather all that information and anything we feel is pertinent.
Is it fair to say that you work in tandem with each other at this time?
Yeah, we're pretty much hooked at the hip when we're out there. At least I am anyways.
And at the time you were raised on the radio, as you say, do you know whether someone had died at that point?
I don't specifically recall if somebody was officially deceased or they had been or at Grady and not expected to survive, but either one would require a homicide response.
Responded to 330 McDaniel Street, Southwest Atlanta, Georgia, crime scene location on January 10th, 2015. Did you know upon arrival that someone had in fact been shot?
Yes.
Oh, will you look at this? Such a lovely, lovely list of detectives. Oh my goodness. Such a great group of, wait, is that Detective Darrin Smith? Born and raised in South Albans, Maine, Detective Darrin Smith got into law enforcement to experience something new every day. He is proud that he can put violent criminals in jail where they are not able to harm others. Joining Atlanta Police Department in 2005, Smith worked in patrol, criminal investigations, and gang unit before joining homicide in March 2012. Outside of his work, Smith enjoys golfing, hunting, fishing, hiking, and taking time to share with his wife. Well, in my big show voice, well, y'all know he lost one of the biggest profile cases in Atlanta history. Take a look. Equipped with everything.
Testimony in the Tex McIver trial wrapped up early today. Jurors are actually taking next week off, the holiday. After nearly 3 weeks, the prosecution is getting close to the end of its own witness list. Today, Atlanta Police Detective Darrin Smith was on the stand. He was one of the officers to interview Tex McIver, who is accused of intentionally shooting and killing his wife, Diane. One of the theories floating around is that McIver had his gun out because he was worried about a Black Lives Matter rally as they were driving in their SUV through Midtown.
Did the defendant, during your interview with him on September the 28th, ever tell you that this large number of homeless people brought to mind for him a Black Lives Matter protest?
No, he did not.
Did he mention that term to you in that interview anywhere?
No.
The prosecution also accused Detective Smith of failing to ask key questions when he was interviewing McIver, including how much McIver had to drink the night of the shooting. Detective Smith also testified he never asked Tex McIver whether the gun was cocked when he fired it. Smith said it made no difference because the trigger was pulled. The trial will take again next week off and then will resume April 9th.
Now, because I don't feel like paying for all this crap, this is what we're going to do. We're just going to go off a word here. Prosecutors, gaps in Atlanta police investigation of Tex McIver. Check this out. After charging Claude Tex McIver with malice murder last April, 7 months after he shot his wife Diane in the back, an obvious question arose. What did the Fulton County District Attorney's Office know that Atlanta police did not? On Friday, prosecutors focused on what wasn't asked by the defendant by APD investigators who charged McIver only with reckless conduct and involuntary manslaughter. It made for an unusual dynamic when the state witness Atlanta police detective Darrin Smith found himself under fire Friday from lead prosecutor Clint Rucker while receiving praise from defense co-counsel Bruce Harvey. Now, I'm not finna, all that stuff and everything like that. If y'all want to hit the Cash App, then we can delve further into it and drop a video again on Saturday. But other than that, hey, let's get back into it. Here you go. You want an interrogation video?
I came up and I said, girls, where are we and what's happening here?
Right.
Because we were clearly off our path.
Right.
And anyway, that's fine. First, wait.
Okay. And what do you remember after that happening next?
We went through an area I could describe my familiarity with it, but we went through an area I thought that was particularly dangerous.
Remember any landmarks or anything?
It was an underpass.
Okay.
As best it was very dark, but it seemed to me it was, and that's one that has a particularly high population of homeless people.
Okay.
At least in the daytime, but at night there's a lot of people there.
Okay.
And I quickly said, this is a big mistake, and we're in a place that we don't belong.
Right.
And of course here we are in an almost new SUV and 2 women in the front seat.
Right.
All that. So anyway, they made a couple of turns and things were not going well. Diane said, we'll be on Piedmont shortly. And I said, I'd like to, if you don't mind, please hand me my gun.
Right.
And it was in the center console. We'd had some break-ins in our office where the only thing they're looking for seems to be a gun. And so in response to that, I had wrapped my gun in a Publix grocery sack. So if you open the console, you had no clue what you're looking at.
Right.
A flashlight and some stuff
Right.
like that. So Diane reaches in, pulls it out, hands it back to me, and by then we may have been on Piedmont. Anyway, I'm relatively satisfied that we're out of that kind of area.
Right.
And I guess I just laid back again and went to sleep.
Okay.
This Twilight Zone kind of thing.
Right.
Had a weapon in my lap.
Okay. And then what do you remember next happening?
Danny Joe came to a stop, and anyway, I just time to wake up. But she came to a stop, and I was handling the gun. I realized it was in my lap,
Right.
and it went off.
Okay, so what do you remember after the gun was off?
fear, shock. I immediately called out. I said, "Is everybody all right?" And Danny Jo said yes. And Diane's head was kind of slanted. She said, "I've been shot," words to that effect. And I immediately put my arms around her and tried to determine how bad it was. And then I made the judgment that Emory was the closest hospital.
The prominent Atlanta attorney, once convicted of murdering his wife, has now pleaded guilty in the case rather than face a new trial. Tex McIver was facing a new trial after his 2018 conviction was reversed in 2022. Fox 5's Angelique Proctor joins us live with the latest. And Angelique, today's guilty plea to lesser charges effectively ends this case.
That is right, Christine. This case is over. Tex McIver pleaded guilty to involuntary manslaughter and reckless conduct, and now his attorneys say he is eligible for parole.
This resolution will allow the greatest number of people to move forward.
The felony murder case against lawyer Tex McIver finally came to a close Friday with a negotiated guilty plea of involuntary manslaughter, reckless conduct, and possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony.
And that you are knowingly waiving all the rights that you enjoy as a criminal defendant here in Georgia. Is that also correct? Correct. All right. Then I'll accept your plea.
The guilty plea ended a long saga that started when businesswoman Diane McIver was shot in the back by her husband Tex as the two rode through Atlanta, driven by family friend Danny Jo Carter back in 2016. In 2018, a jury found McIver guilty of felony murder. His attorneys appealed that decision to the state Supreme Court, arguing the jury was improperly instructed. The High Court agreed, which set the stage for a retrial. McIver's attorneys say they had one goal for the aging defendant.
He's 81 years old now. He needs to get out of Fulton County Jail. Mr. McIver's always taken responsibility for what happened. It wasn't anybody else who did it. It wasn't anybody else's fault.
Prosecutors had 3 witnesses tell the court how much Diane meant to them. McIver was sentenced to 15 years. 8 must be served in prison, and the balance on probation. He will get credit for the 6+ years he has already served.
We think his sentence will be done sometime mid-2025.
He's eligible for parole right now. In fact, the guidelines are that he should be paroled immediately. It takes some time to go through the process.
And McIver's attorneys say that could be a couple of months, but once he is paroled, he will head home and finish the balance of his sentence there on an ankle monitor. We are live in downtown. Angelique Proctor, Fox 5 News.
All right, Angelique, thank you very much. 3 white.
Let me say this. Do y'all think that all those individuals in there watch TV? Yeah. Do y'all think all those individuals don't get it? What are you talking about? Now, granted, some officers could be in there, and it makes sense. But this officer in particular is only there for star value, for TV value. Unless he gonna come out and basically explain away how Young Thug basically orchestrated the hit, we don't need him. What you're going to see is over 200 pictures of BS. A straight BS, bruh. To the point where it's like, y'all didn't even inquire with this dude to even find out nothing about him. They didn't even know, hey, bruh, he about to basically take 2 weeks off. Why would you call on somebody that he's about to take 2 weeks off and you put up the worst person that you have on a defense? The lawyer Brown, he's trash as hell. He has the organization skills of a 1-year-old. Dead ass. Bruh, he stumbles and rummages and all this stuff and everything like that. I'm surprised they didn't just start objecting him just to throw him off. He don't look like he needs to even be a lawyer, bro, but somebody got to start somewhere, and I hope eventually he does do great. But there is a reason why they keep giving him the trash-ass witnesses. It's a pattern. The first pattern is, if you see Brown, prepare to go to sleep, Brown. Also, they keep on bringing in these TV A&E detectives. Why? Why do y'all think y'all gonna get the star power? Now, one could surmise and say, no, Sonny Nash, he's there and all this stuff and everything like that and blah, blah, blah and all that. Yeah, all right, cool. He took the pictures of the scene. 200 pictures. What the hell are we supposed to be looking at? We know there was a shooting. We know Donovan Thomas died. We know all of this stuff. So how do we tie it all into anything? Now, somebody could say, you know what? Nah, bro, you tripping because they need all the pictures just in case they miss something and everything because the state does have the burden of proof and all that and everything. And you'd be correct. But there comes a point in time where it's not death by 1,000 cuts. It's sleep by 1,000 words. And I don't think people are understanding this. So let's get into the other case, bro. Darrin Smith basically lost already to a lawyer that's in there because this dummy gonna say, oh yeah, it was an accidental shooting. Said this already. That's why he ended up getting off. And then they weren't able to talk about the financial gain and all this crap and everything like that, bruh. He's trash. That's why he was fidgety. That's why he didn't look sure. That's why he looked odd. Bruh, I can get more into it, but we're going to disseminate and destroy. I'm about to start digging up these backgrounds on everybody because it seems like we need some profiles to go ahead with our illustrious DA team while they're sitting up here looking dumb. Fani Willis right now is in the fight of her life to still stay the DA. I think she's still going to be the DA because she has star power. And that's one thing about Atlanta is there are people who are ordinary citizens, but they do a spectacular job or they do a job that just thrusts them into the spotlight. And I think that's what Fani Willis got going. And I believe that's exactly what she's doing right now. Now, granted, DA Love is calling the shots, but bro, all the witnesses and stuff like that, when y'all think about this, right? Think about all the witnesses that weren't called. What were they supposed to do exactly? Hey, I was there. Yeah, I seen the car. There were bullet holes and stuff like that. All right, next detective. Yeah, I was there. I got in late night, and then we were called, and then I had to block off and stop traffic, and I seen the car. That's basically what they're doing. There's no reason for Darrin Smith to be up there for more than a day. We got 3 witnesses done on freaking on Monday. It should be no reason why we can't get this man out the way by next Monday. So the state are doing a devastatingly terrible job at this because at the end of the day, you're trying to use star power and it's not going to work unless you can make his testimony short and effective. Because when they write it down, they need their cliff notes. You don't want them going in wasting time. Because at the end of the day, goddamn, I just flipped over 8 pages just to come up with what conclusion? Oh, man, Donovan Thomas died. Because his mom didn't show the obituary, right? Because his mom didn't show the gravesite, right? Because his mom didn't show the damn car that was shot up, right? All right, cool, bro. All right. It makes no damn sense. But y'all let me know y'all thoughts on this one. What do you think is going to happen with Darrin Smith? I'll catch you on the next one. DA Love video dropping. I got to check out these laws and stuff like that from the very, very end. So we're probably going to make a video on that one. But I'll catch you on the next one.